The 2022 National N-Scale Convention was held in our home state of Tennessee, and the convention kicked off in a big way on June 14th with a train ride at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. Modelers from all over the world arrived on buses shortly after 10:30 a.m. and were eager to experience the sights and sounds of a steam locomotive on the Missionary Ridge Local. Excitement was in the air as we were just about to announce our all-new Rivet counter locomotive. People were guessing as to what it might be. Maybe it was a GE, maybe an EMD, or even an Alco. We spoke with Shane Wilson to learn more about the announcement.
I want to welcome everybody to Chattanooga. We have 170 guests here today. Really appreciate everybody making the trip on what is the hottest day of the year. They're telling us it's 111 in the shade today. And so hopefully the new announcement doesn't melt. We're announcing today the all-new N-Scale SD40-2 and a lot of different versions of the SD40-2, including the High Hood Southern. You've got the Post-80 Dynamics and UP, Early BN, the CSX SD40-3, the NS Admiral Cab, and of course all the railroad road number era-specific detail that you've come to know. Of course, you've got headlights, rear headlights, lighted number boards. Ditch lights were appropriate. You'll have beacons. They're non-operating, unfortunately, because of the size of the end. But if you were really crafty, you could probably get them to work. And of course, they'll be available with ESU Loc Sound 5 inside as well. So that one, and then also the next run of N-Scale Multi-Maxes. The Multi-Max, of course, sold out really quickly on the first production run. So we're doing some more road numbers and two new road names, Utah Railway and TTX, both with white bodies. So that's a little snapshot from here at TVRM. And of course, we'll take some video throughout the day. We're going to take a train ride behind the steam locomotive and be in Nashville on Friday.
Shane, how rewarding is it to see all these folks here visiting the ScaleTrains truck and trailer at TVRM?
Well, this is pretty awesome. We are really making a serious commitment to N-Scale. We, of course, hired Matt Gudinski, who was with Fox Valley Models and worked with Intermountain and several other manufacturers, distributors, retailers over the years. And Matt has been really working hard for us to work on new products like the 40-2. And we're making a real serious commitment in new tooling and some other things that we're working on. So a lot coming for N-Scale. And I think folks here are going to be really pleased with what they've got to see today.
Well, new for N-Scale is a brand new locomotive, the N-Scale SD40-2. Probably one of the most detailed locomotives built yet to date. Should be a fantastic addition to any railroad from 72 on up through still running today.
That's awesome. We like to hear that. What are some of the features that makes this model unique?
We've put as much detail into each body variation as we possibly can. We're doing things in batches, and on this first batch we've designed 20 different body-specific road names for releases. We're announcing the first 7 today. There will be additional ones down the road. And we're going specific as far as bells, whistles, lights, ditch lights, no ditch lights. Decks are different, handrails are different. So there's all kinds of little variations that we're kind of dialing in for each specific road name.
As a product developer, how rewarding is it to see the locomotive on the table and getting to hear everybody's reaction to it today?
It is fantastic. Days like this are fun. This is why you do it. You work on this for over a year, and to see something come to fruition and you put it on the table in front of people, it's just very rewarding.
After the unveiling, attendees enjoyed a boxed lunch before boarding the train at Grand Junction. The Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum is a nonprofit organization dedicated to educating the public about railroad history in the Southeast. The museum was incorporated in 1961 and operates a variety of passenger excursions, both long and short distance, and has a large collection of both steam and diesel locomotives.
Well, it's a beautiful day here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I'm super excited that we are going to get an extended shop tour. That's one of the great parts of taking this extra excursion with the N-Scale convention. I'm excited to be taken through each step of how the steam locomotive works and how we're going to be able to see how it functions in person. I'm just super excited about riding the train.
So, what did you think of everybody's reaction on the N-Scale SD40-2?
They seemed really excited. We had people immediately standing there asking, we want it, where is it on your website? So we got to walk people through how to order and use our mobile version on our website as well.
Grand Junction is where the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum boards its passenger trains. If you're a rail fan, it's also a great place to watch both steam and diesel locomotives with Norfolk Southern's nearby Chattanooga to Atlanta, Georgia main line seeing about 30 freight trains every day. More likely than not, while you're boarding the Missionary Ridge Local, you'll probably see a Norfolk Southern train like this one that's headed southbound towards Atlanta. After watching the freight train roll by, the Missionary Ridge Local was ready to depart Grand Junction. The local will take passengers through one pre-Civil War tunnel and over 4 bridges. My name's Drayton, and I'll be your onboard narrator today. As we get started, let's establish direction. We're headed westbound for East Chattanooga. I know it sounds a little backwards, but don't worry, we'll get there. Today, we're traveling on the 1859 right-of-way constructed by the East Tennessee and Georgia Railroad. When built, the ET&G connected Knoxville, Tennessee with Dalton, Georgia. The only way to get from Knoxville to Chattanooga by rail was to go south to Dalton on the ET&G, then return north to Chattanooga by way of the Western and Atlantic through Tunnel Hill and Ringgold, Georgia. That changed in 1859 with the completion of the ET&G. We're currently traveling on a 1906 realignment constructed by the Southern Railway, who took over the property in 1894. They operated on this route until 1954, when they abandoned the line in favor of a new route around Missionary Ridge, bypassing the tunnel entirely. The new route is the present-day Norfolk Southern main line that we showed earlier in the video. After crossing Chickamauga Creek, passengers were invited to deboard the train for a photo run-by, where they could get some great videos of Southern 4501 working hard past the photo line.
The Missionary Ridge Local is a very bite-sized train ride. It's really good for families, especially if they have small kids. And if you've never ridden a longer train ride before, the Local is good for getting your feet wet and to see if you can handle a longer train trip. And it packs a lot of history into a very short 3-mile railroad and a lot of information into about a 1-hour trip.
What do we got going on here? What are all these people behind you for?
So this group is here with the National N-Scale Convention, and we're going to do what's known as a photo run-by, which is where we make a general nuisance of ourselves to the surrounding community as we come by here with a lot of smoke, a lot of whistle, at a fairly decent rate of speed.
Hey Keith, so tell me a little bit about the train ride experience so far today. Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, the train ride's been great. I was riding up in front with the in the baggage area, hanging out the vestibule. It was great. Great train ride. Great run by too. Awesome.
Bob, tell me about the train ride so far. Are you having a good time?
Yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm sitting with some good friends, and we're having a great time today.
So your day is on track.
So far.
What up, Frank? With everyone back on board and accounted for, our train met another Missionary Ridge local that was returning to Grand Junction. TVRM operates multiple Missionary Ridge trains on a daily basis. Now, with the main line clear of all trains, 4501 proceeded west towards East Chattanooga. As the train makes the climb up Missionary Ridge, we approach the tunnel. This tunnel was dug between 1856 and 1858, even collapsing twice during construction. As we enter the tunnel, note that there's only about 10 to 15 inches of clearance on either side of the train. The interior of the tunnel is lined with stacked stone, naturally carved rock, and handmade bricks stacked 11 feet thick in certain places. It was chiseled out of this ridge entirely by hand, using drills, picks, and shovels. Black powder was rendered useless due to an underground spring here, and dynamite wasn't even invented yet. The portals of the tunnel are shaped like an upside-down horseshoe, and it's one of the only horseshoe tunnels remaining in active service in Tennessee. The tunnel was dedicated on August 5, 1859, and was named Whiteside Tunnel after Colonel James Whiteside. As we exit the tunnel, we're now approaching our destination of East Chattanooga. Once the train arrives at the station, you're invited to exit with the train crew to watch as they rotate the locomotive on the museum's turntable. Afterwards, you're also invited to take a tour of the museum's repair and restoration shops.
I've got mine on my wall too. I've never had any mine over here. All this stuff.
We crossed over 4 bridges, including Chickamauga Creek, and we passed through pre-Civil War Missionary Ridge Tunnel to arrive here in East Chattanooga. Now, I told you a little bit of the history of the line, about how it started at ETB&G, went to Southern in 1894, was upgraded around 1912, double-tracked and so forth.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we bring the locomotive onto the turntable, you're being pulled today by the world-famous Southern Railway number 4501. This locomotive was manufactured new by the Baldwin Locomotive Works of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in October of 1911. It is the 37,000 locomotive produced in the Southern Railway. Southern Railway ultimately owned 485 UAP locomotives at varying sizes. This would be in the smaller line.
The 1916 vintage turntable was originally hand-powered and once served the Central of Georgia Railroad in Macon. It was later relocated to Cedartown, Georgia, before being moved again to TVRM upon its donation. Today, it's powered by a 25 horsepower electric motor. However, the engineer still has to balance the locomotive over a 6-foot diameter ball bearing in the center of the table before turning is possible.
Probably noticed that we pulled onto the turntable from track number 1. And as we do our rotation here, we'll pass track number 1 and line up with the adjacent track number 2. Now that will allow us to pull off the turntable, drive down past our train on that adjacent track, go through a switch to the end of the yard, back up and reconnect onto the other end of our train. So let's head in the front to things.
At Sewell Shops, TVRM employees and volunteers work hard to maintain and restore historic rail equipment. This tour is all part of the TVRM experience and offers riders a glimpse into the hard work that's required to keep the past alive. Honestly, it's a rare look, as most museums don't offer back shop tours. While we were there, the museum was quite busy restoring several vintage passenger cars and also working on steam locomotive wheels from several other steam locomotives across the United States. The Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum is an expert in contract locomotive work and has some of the finest equipment in the United States. After the shop tour, passengers reboarded the train for the return trip back to Grand Junction. We'd like to thank our friends at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum for hosting the 2022 National N-Scale Convention. We're so thankful for the great work they're doing to preserve railroad history. We had an awesome time at the museum and highly recommend riding the train to anyone visiting the volunteer state. To learn more about the museum, visit tvrail.com. And to learn more about our all-new Rivet Counter N-Scale SD40-2, visit ScaleTrains.com. Thanks for tuning in.